I was doing the same thing every time. I can't help it. It's too good.
Oh, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. The boys are back in town. John is nowhere to be seen because he's hiding, because I think he now has to officially say they're done. They're not getting playoffs.
I mean, I am starting to see a bit of a pattern. Birmingham lose. John doesn't show up.
He's got something better to do.
Maybe I'm reading a little too much into it, but I'm starting to pick up a pattern.
You know what? If things go much worse, we might have to start putting someone on sack watch. But no, I'm only joking. But he may not last after the summer. We were trying to do a little bet with him that Parky would outlive him. Now, I think he was trying to say in the Discord today, no, we said that he'll survive till the summer. So I'm pretty sure he will survive till the summer. Will they stay with him next year? Who knows? But we'll see. He'd want to get a lot of nice results under his belt for the rest of the season. Otherwise, I think they will.
Yeah, he's definitely got to have. He's got to finish strong if he's going to.
He's got to finish strong, I think. Yeah. He's really got to put it up there and say, you want to give me another season.
I've not really looked at their run in, so I don't know how hard their run in is. But they need for Davies to stay on at Birmingham, he's going to have a good run in, and it just hasn't been working for him.
Off the top of my head, I think they have a balanced run in. I don't think
they've got. I've got it pulled up right here. They've got Derby, and then they've got Blackburn, Ipswich, us, Hull, Preston, Bristol, and Portsmouth. So not extremely hard, but there's some tough matches in there. You know what I mean? It's
everyone's fighting this end of the year.
Yeah.
Some of the teams down the bottom wouldn't matter by the time they're playing Birmingham, probably until the last couple of matches again. But anyway, hello everybody. This is Champ Chat on the Local Pundit, where we talk about everything championship related. Normally we talk about all the matches the weekend, and we will do that a little bit. But this evening we have decided we'll do something a little bit different. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the promotion chase that's heating up, and it looks like if Wrexham are going to survive in the playoffs, they're going to have to do it themselves. They're going to have to do it the hard way, I think. This could very much go down to the wire. But after that, we are going to have a look at the Prem. And I know I just said this is a Champ Chat. However, Champ Chat adjacent, because it is relevant to us. So what we're going to do is we're not going to bother with the top of the Prem, because that's not relevant to us. We are going to have a look at the three boys that went up last season and how well they're doing, what they did to try and survive, and are they surviving, or will they be coming back? And then we'll have a little look at the relegation scrap that's going on up in the Prem, because there's some interesting teams down about it this season. And of course, that is relevant to us because either we win the playoffs and we're going up to face some of these teams, or we're not, in which case they're coming down to play us next season. So either way, it's relevant, and I thought it'd be a nice time to have a look at it now while we're still in there chasing among the pack, before anything disastrous happens and we don't get to talk about it. So at least we can kind of dream with a little bit of reality in it, and see how we get on.
It's really exciting looking at the teams that could possibly come down at the moment. There's some big ones.
Okay, let's have a quick look at the chat. Say hi to everybody. Only a few people in tonight actually at the moment, but Jeff G is here and he is talking all about the smoke and the fire of Coutinho, and whether he is coming to us as a free agent, whether he's able to come to us as a free agent before the end of the season. So hello there, Jeff. We might as well talk about that first, actually, just get it out of the way. He also says like and subscribe, which is cool. Please do. Let's do this is here in the house. There's another very quick topic. He's talking about Wrexham in the USA for the summer.
Got my tickets.
Had is here, yo. George Jones in the house. Talk about Pompey not being able to win their match. Well, that will be in our discussion with the playoffs, relevant to the playoffs.
Yep, for sure.
Donlan is here, Mertlin's here, and everybody else will be joining us shortly, guys. So welcome everybody in. Now let's go back. What we're going to talk about first. We're going to talk about Coutinho. Let's just get that out of the way. And look at this. Josh has almost never been on this show, and people are still calling out Josh. Huh? You don't get enough of him on all the other shows? Anyway, we'll skip over that. It's fine. I'm not bothered. I'm not.
I'm not bothered as he crosses his arms and pouts.
Okay, so what's your take on this? Is he coming? Is he not coming? Was he seen buying milk in Wrexham, or is this all a lot of nonsense?
I'm leaning towards a load of nonsense, unfortunately. I'd love to have Coutinho in. I best as I can understand, and maybe you've seen something different. I don't think we can sign him. I think I think because of the timing of his release,
he was released a little too late.
It was a little too late. So I think if it was anything, it would be for next season. Maybe, maybe there's a shout, but something tells me this is one of those random things that somebody threw out there, and it is what it is.
All good, Jeff. I'm only playing it out.
Yeah, he's just giving you a hard time, Jeff. Now, if you want to have some real fun, ask Josh a question again in a little bit. No, I think. So I think. No, the thing with Coutinho, as much as it'd be a really cool thing, I just don't think it's. I don't think it's a realistic possibility, especially for this season. I definitely don't think he can come in. But it's one of those, man. I don't know. I mean, obviously, he was at one point one of the best players in the world. I think that's fair. I think he got like $145 million move or something like that from Liverpool to Barcelona, which is unbelievable. But I don't, and he's not that old. He's what, 33, I think. So he's not it's not like he's ancient, he's the same age as Kiefer Moore, and he's been playing, in Brazil. But I think it's, I think we'd have loved to have him in, but I don't think it's a realistic possibility.
Okay, one thing that I have noticed, and I'm really surprised about, is how on earth do we potentially have people coming in, doing a little bit of a trial, doing a kickabout with the boys, and we're not getting pictures of them?
Yeah.
How is somebody not stationed with a telly lens, monitoring who is actually kicking the ball, and do I recognize them or do I not recognize them? That's surprising me.
It's interesting. I know, like Parky had mentioned last week about possibly getting some players in. He was asked about that in the interview today that came out. I don't know when that interview was, but it was the pre-match for tomorrow's game. And he was asked about it, and he said there's been no developments on that. So as far as I can tell, nobody's in right now. So at least that's what Parky led us to believe anyway.
So that's one. If something is happening there, they could very well be having a few discussions for the summer. To see what's happening. And this is an interesting comment that I want to touch on here from Y. Simro. Coutinho has been a free agent for a month and nobody has come in for him because nobody rates him. So why would Wrexham? I think this is a bit off the mark. For a few reasons. One, he's been a free agent for a month and no one has come in for him. Most of the teams do not have space for another player to join because they've already put in their 25. So first of all, a lot of teams, even if they wanted him, wouldn't have the space. Championship teams, I don't think could also maybe afford him. A lot of the teams, he's still going to want a decent whack, first of all. And then if they don't rate him, why would Wrexham want him? Don't we have a bit of a history of finding some golden oldie talent and bringing them into the team and allowing them to kind of see out some of their last seasons and playing because they want to play, because they still want to push? Coutinho is potentially falling into that bracket for me. Now, it may only be if we go up to the Prem, which is even saying he's even better than Championship level, potentially. I don't know, maybe he's not. But the lower level of the Prem, right, probably still wouldn't take him because of his age. Whereas it might suit everybody, because we will need a lot of players if we were to get up into the Prem, that he may come in and be perfectly happy to be on the bench and coming on for 10, 15, 20 minutes when he can back in the Prem, for another season or two if he can handle it or whatever. So it's not outside the realms of possibility here that this is the type of player who would be happy to come and join us for short minutes in the Prem and just enjoy his football again. Part of the reason he left apparently was because he wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah. We've got an intruder alert, and he's having way too much fun already. We have John Merrell.
Hey guys, how you going? Yep.
It didn't even pop up on the screen. Yeah,
it's only a joke for us. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny for us. Nobody else gets to see it.
Damn it! I think there's a way we can add our names in.
There is. There's a button. I'm looking for it. Hang on. I don't know where it is, but I'll see.
You'll find it. Is it in people?
There you go. Did it come up? Why did it come up?
I don't know. They're not coming up, are they?
We hide that.
There it is.
There
it is. Yeah.
Yep. So I just want to say, look, we're going to get 24 more points this season. We've got 8 games left. We're going to win every single one of them. And we're going to finish on 77 points. And we're going to make the playoffs.
Yep. I think you're pretty damn close right there.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm John Merrell and we're on 52. So 24. Yeah, that's right. I got that right. Yeah, we're going to finish on 77 points.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
I hear you.
I
think we might finish on 77 points. I don't know about Birmingham.
Yeah. I've been loving listening to you chat about Coutinho and everything. It's you got a lot to chat about today, boys.
Yeah, we do actually.
Yeah, we've got a ton. Yeah, that wasn't even part of the plan. We got. I blame
the chat for that one.
Because the chat. But I had been looking into it because it was really interesting. Like when that name comes up, it's like, oh, that's a big one. You know what I mean? Like that's not a little deal. So
it's an interesting theory you had on it, Paddy, about maybe just for next season.
Yeah, possible.
Yeah,
it's possible. I have a feeling that it's probably just a little bit of BS. But yeah. According to Parky, the interview he came out with today, we've got nobody in right now. So I think it's all for now. Let's be honest. There's only a few weeks left. Are you really going to be able, is really anybody going to be able to come in and make a difference and be ready to play? You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing is they'd have to have been playing to make it even worth it. And at this point, if they've been playing recently, you can't sign them anyway. So it's one of those deals.
Well, I don't want to derail the show. Stay on topic, Paddy. I'll be in here. I'll add any advice if I can, but probably not.
Okay. Right. Let's jump into it because we've already done 15 minutes. Which one is which? This one. Yes, there we go. Hit the right one. So this is the leaderboard as it stands right now. Coventry City 7 points ahead of Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough nicely fighting with Ipswich and Millwall. Ipswich still have that game in hand that they need to sort out. And then from there, there's kind of a little gap at the moment with Hull and Wrexham 5th and 6th. Only 3 points away from us, and we do have the game in hand, which we play tomorrow night. If we can pull off the win there at Watford, we will be on 63 points, but we will have a better goal difference on Hull. So we will take 5th, and they will be in the firing line if Southampton start moving. Now, Southampton actually do also have a game in hand as well, and they will be playing tomorrow night. They are
play
playing
Wednesday.
Norwich.
I think theirs is Wednesday. I don't think it's
Oh, this is Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're playing midweek anyway before the weekend to clear off that game. So what could actually happen here is by the weekend, Hull could not. Sorry, I was about to say something stupid. They will find themselves in the firing line with Southampton right behind them, breathing down their neck.
Which I prefer that. I prefer Southampton breathing down Hull's neck and not ours so much.
Yeah.
But Hull do have their 3 points from Wednesday coming up, so they're free 3 points that everybody gets.
And Southampton's game is against Norwich. That's no easy game.
No,
that's
it's not.
No easy
Norwich
game. I would love them to take them out there.
You know, actually, interestingly, I was looking at Norwich because I still think they've left it too late. I don't think. I mean, they're only 9 points off. But I mean, they'd have to be perfect almost to get. You know what I mean? They'd almost
near perfect.
Near perfect to get there. And even then, I don't think it's a guarantee. You know, even if they were perfect. But they've got some games that I really think. I think I'm going to be a Norwich fan for a while. I mean, they've got some big games against teams that will really affect our chances at promotion. So here's some of the games they've got. So obviously Southampton's a big one this midweek. Then it's Charlton, Portsmouth, which don't mean a lot. But then it's Millwall, then Ipswich. Then they've got Bristol, which they've kind of fallen off. But then Derby, and then their last game of the season is Hull. So they play all those teams that are right, around us. Yeah. I know Millwall's a little further out. But if we continue to play well, you never know. We could be chasing 4th place too or 3rd. It'd be tough, but we might be able to get there and just give ourselves a better chance in the playoffs by having that extra or having the home game at the end and as the second of the 2 legs, which teams like to do. So Norwich could do us a favor, but I think for them to make the playoffs, they've got to be damn near perfect, like you said, and it's going to be tough.
And you know what? Because you kind of mentioned it there, if they go near perfect, right, and if they're chasing that 6th place spot, they're doing damage to everybody around us. So it probably won't be us that they'll be taking 6th spot from. So that's right.
Well, and Aaron mentioned that Millwall's like a bit far away at the moment, but Millwall's next 2 games, away to Ipswich, away to Middlesbrough,
and then Norwich.
And then home to Norwich. Yeah, you're right. Those next 3.
Actually, those next 3,
Then their next 3 games pretty much defines their season, really, doesn't it?
I think it does, because after that, it gets a lot easier for them, for as much as you can say easy in this league. But after that, they've got, an easy run in. So if they get through these next 3 matches with some decent points, I think they're golden. I think they won't be pushed out then at that point. So they'll be safe somewhere.
The only flip side to that, Paddy, is they're playing a lot of teams in the relegation battle as well.
Yeah, of course.
Which is not fun.
I mean, it's not fun, but
yeah, I agree. They're down there for a reason. But look how much Portsmouth came at Derby tonight, and couldn't get the job done. But how many shots on goal did they have? Like 20 something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't watch all the game. I was just reading some of the comments. And Nick's thrown in here about Coutinho.
Yeah.
I thought that was a possibility, Nick, but I've not been able to find that anywhere. So I don't.
Yeah, same thing. I was having a look. Couldn't find
the rules are
anything
pretty clear. It's basically the end of our window.
Our window.
They go by. I don't think it matters what their window is. So I again, I'd love to have him. I just don't think it. I don't think it's gonna. I don't. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, look, I same thing. I would love it to be true, and I hope it is true.
Yeah,
And just
love to have it.
one of those small little rules that are hidden in there somewhere.
Yeah, it may be, and I just couldn't find it. I looked for it. I
Yeah.
looked to see if there was something like that, and I just couldn't find it. Could be wrong. You might be right. Because Nick, I'll be honest with you, and he says my bad. I thought there was a chance that was possibly true myself. So I looked. It's I don't know. The EFL handbook's kind of hard to get through some of that. It's hard to find things anyway. But the best I could tell, it's basically our window when it ends. They have to be a free agent by then. It doesn't matter.
And the problem with the EFL handbook is what you tend to find is that the exception to the rule is often hidden in a completely different part.
Yeah.
It's not at the bottom of the rule.
Right.
It's somewhere else that you find the actual exception that relates back to something. So yeah, it can be tough, but who knows? Maybe. Let's hope. Why not?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, for sure. The other thing with him, though, he does seem to play as one of the 10s, though. And so I don't know that as much as I'd love to have him, I don't know that that's really what we need at the moment to be either. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he can play further back. I don't know. Or maybe the thought is he comes in, maybe one of the other guys drop further back. But I mean, I think right now our depth issues are midfield and wing back. So I think if he was going to bring somebody in, it's probably going to be somebody to play as one of the defensive mids or as a wing back. It'd be odd to bring a 10 in. You know what I mean? When we've got the depth there. You know what I'm saying?
It would potentially, but I'll give an argument as to why you might potentially bring him in, even if you didn't need him. Is for a player of that potential, what harm is it to throw him some wages, to be in around the team, to have a little bit of time with the team, and for him to make that final choice and decision that yes, he wants to stay with us. It could be a short-term deal until the end of the summer, and then everybody kind of speaks about it again. Are we going up to the Prem? Are we staying in the Championship? Do you like being here? Because he had problems with his last club and he left under bad circumstances, so it might work to his advantage to just give it the last month or 6 weeks to be in around us properly in order to decide.
That scenario, Paddy, how much is that? Is that like 10 grand a week?
I assume it's some nominal amount that we're not going to be worried about. And I would assume he would also have to drop seriously his wage concerns in order to do that. You know, both sides would have to come to the table to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, any less than that, like you got to, you know, uproot your family or whatever, move, bloody find a house, you know.
Yeah, but he's already here training with Leeds.
Yeah,
I think it's Leeds he was with. So he obviously has something sorted for the sake of
I'm just curious on what the money that might be.
Look, I don't know what the money is, but obviously I'm saying it will be something that the club don't care about to that degree, that it's still worth the chance of bringing him in, convincing him that we're a team that he likes and wants to finish out his days with.
Just on the Pompey Derby game, it was 27 total shots for Pompey, 9 on target,
and they couldn't do anything.
Couldn't put one in.
I watched it like that. There were shots on target, but there was nothing that was like, oh my god, that should have been a goal.
Crazy.
68% possession. It's just.
And Derby smashed another one off the bar as well, didn't they?
Yeah, late.
Yeah.
Oh, in the second. Yeah, it was not late, but it was like in the second half, and it was. Yeah, but I mean, Portsmouth were going for it, but Derby was good in defence. Their defence was great. Their keeper was great, considering he's number 3 keeper.
Number 3 keeper, yeah. Another Mark Howard. He's old.
Yeah, I listened to about the first 15 minutes of the game, and then I switched off because it was a little boring at the time. But as I was listening, like the first bit of the game, it seemed like Derby were the team on top, and you know they were just going to cruise. And I thought, they got that first one, and I was like, they're going to cruise this thing. So I was a little surprised to see that it ended 1-0. But
yeah. Okay, is anybody worried about Derby? I'm not, surprisingly. I think they're a little bit hit and miss still.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they just go off the boil a little bit. They're not consistent for me. I don't think they'll put a consistent run together.
I think the problem with Derby is I think they don't like consistency for one, like you say.
Yeah.
But I don't think. I think they don't do well against a good team. You know what I mean? It seems like they'll take care of the teams that are lower than them, but I think they struggle against better teams. And their home form has been really poor. I don't know what I don't know where it ranks rankings wise, but it wasn't great. Like they struggled at home, which is never a good thing. But then it seems like it's kind of flip flopped on its head. There, I think they've started to struggle away, and they're still not great at home, but I think they've got better. But they just, they're one of those teams. I just don't see them being able to hold up. You know what I mean? Being able to hang with us in Southampton.
It's amazing what they've achieved, though. To be fair, everybody was talking about them being a relegation potential team.
Yeah.
So what they've done this year is amazing, and it's not outside the realms of possibility that they don't pull off a Bristol from last year. Right at the very end, hit a good patch of form, slide into sixth potentially if others have kind of slid down. But I don't see Southampton lose. They're going to make a big push. I think they're going to get in, and for me, it's Hull getting pushed out.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ken.
I missed the first 10 minutes of the game today, but I watched the rest of it, and they just look like a solid championship team, which they've looked like all season. They didn't blow me away, but they weren't bad either. And their run home is pretty much what I would call an equal run. They got to play enough good teams, and they got to play some average teams as well. So so for me, it's like I think they're going to finish about where they are now.
Yeah, sounds about right to me. I think I predicted them about 10th, so I think that's going to be about right. Like you say, they're just not it's funny because I do kind of write them off in my head, but then it's like, to be fair to them, they're only 3 points off us though. So it's like, so you can't it's hard to it's
that's a game in hand.
Yeah, you're right, but
we got to get the points out of that game, though, Paddy.
And going to Watford's no easy feat. So, I am a little bit worried about that game.
I have tipped us to win. I have tipped us to win though. So I want the 3 points, Paddy.
Yeah, I do too. It just seems like the type of game we'll end up losing because we do what we do. It's just
So I put the cutoff there just at Derby, and I think that's probably is the cutoff point. Birmingham are next in 9th at the moment. They're another 3 points behind, I believe, with the same amount of matches played. So that's 6 points behind us with a game in hand as well. And at this stage, it's getting so late. Again, any shot of them getting anywhere near, they have to be basically perfect, which it's just really.
Actually, it's more than that. They're actually 7 points behind us, Paddy.
So are they 7 as well? Okay.
Yeah, they're 7.
And they're playing, and you can see their Derby are playing them next.
Yeah. So John can do us a favor.
I will.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, shoot.
Okay. Do we want to go through the scores of the weekend? We have some pretty good results.
If you just want to read through them real quick, we don't really have to spend much time on it. Just want to run through
have you got them or?
I can real quick. I got on my phone. I can't pull it up, but
I can bring them up if you like.
If you want to bring them up, you can. I've got. I can just bring up the championship schedule. So I've got. So obviously the Friday night game was us. 2-0 over Swansea. Then Saturday, to me, it was surprise of the weekend was Southampton going to Coventry and getting a win. They beat them 2-1. And then another surprise, Middlesbrough dropping points. They go 1-1 against Bristol, which was a late equalizer. Then we had Oxford drawing 1-1 with Charlton. No real surprise there. Birmingham drew 1-1 with Sheffield United. There was a interesting red card in that game as well. Uh-oh.
Did you watch the match?
The Sheffield the United game? No, I
The
didn't.
United,
Birmingham. I didn't get
the
to see it.
Birmingham.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Oh, that was funny. Surely you've seen the highlights of the penalty.
I've heard about it. I haven't watched it yet. I need to see it. I haven't seen it, but yeah, from the sounds of it, it was pretty. There's a few of them this weekend that were interesting, but yeah. So then Leicester. This one surprised me too. QPR beat Leicester 3-1. Of course, it was at Leicester, so that surprised me.
Relegation battle.
Yeah, Millwall losing 1-2 against Blackburn, which that didn't see that one coming, but there was a red card in that game. Then Norwich beat Preston 2-0. No surprise there. Sheffield Wednesday lost 0-2 to Ipswich. Stoke beat Watford 3-1. I watched bits of that game. Didn't watch the whole game, but I saw like the last little bit. I'll tell you what, the last 15 minutes were pretty exciting in that game. The bunch of goals went in. I think Watford scored one, and then I think Stoke scored two towards the end. So it was just wham, 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 wham. Bunch of goals came in. It was pretty good. And then West Brom beating Hull 3-0. Again, I think they were helped by red card, but to be fair to them, they were up 1-0 when the red card came. So they were playing well. But yeah, you can't imagine Hull's happy with that. And then of course today, Derby beats Portsmouth 1-0. So that wraps up. Well, I guess it doesn't necessarily wrap up that week. I guess technically, to catch us up with on 38 games, it'll be our game tomorrow in Southampton. And all those teams will then be on 38 games played. I don't know if anybody else has got. Ipswich still got a game in hand.
Ipswich still has a game in hand, but they're not playing it this week.
Yeah, and then I think it's against Pompey, if I remember right.
Yeah, because they had two at some point.
Yeah, something like that. So
yeah, I don't. Yeah. I've just watched that penalty. I've just put up those highlights. That was hilarious. And I am gonna do. I've got Josh. Josh has let us down, guys, because he always goes on about lettuce. When worst haircut in the league, Beadle, the keeper for Birmingham.
Yeah, Beadle.
Oh my God, it is so bad. Do yourselves a favor, people. Go and have a look at his haircut. Whoever is doing his haircut and whoever says that looks good, they need to have a good chat to him. Because seriously, it's so bad. But anyway, sorry. I've just seen the penalty, which they didn't score off, by the way.
No, he was saved.
He got saved.
Yeah. Bad penalty, but it was saved as well. Decent save.
Okay, keep going.
And that's all the games.
That's
so
it.
Yep, that was all of them.
Yeah, so that basically leads us through. We've already mentioned it. The two matches, ourselves and Southampton, are playing our catch-up matches. Now, we've a tough enough one. Obviously, Watford can be difficult at times, but they've been on a bad run at the moment, so they're not on form. And hopefully we'll pull that one out there. But Southampton then have Norwich, and we did mention that a little bit earlier. They're not a team you want to be coming up against. But Southampton is on form. We just mentioned they took out Coventry the weekend. So it's obviously very doable for them to win that. So that's going to be a really interesting match this week.
I'd defy anybody to pick the result of that game with any confidence.
Yes. Yeah.
So each one of those teams could win.
So this could be a really important week for us, depending on how those matches go. Look, we can say that about every week coming in, I know, but this one is important in that if we take out our 3 points, go ahead of Hull, and then especially if Southampton don't win, and we have that little bit of a gap, then that is a perfect position for us to be fighting from, with Hull just behind us, and then Southampton another couple of points back as well. Chasing, so that would be an excellent result going into the summer, the weekend, if we can pull that off.
Yeah, because Hull have got Sheffield Wednesday on the weekend, and we've got Sheffield United,
which they should get. Yeah,
so we would have to get 6 points out of these two games, more than likely, to jump ahead of Hull going into the international break.
Yeah, they could pull it back the weekend if they take out Wednesday easy and we don't take out United. Yeah.
Nope. Lost them.
Okay. So, quick one on our weekend matches. Is there anything more to say before we move on? Anything else you want to cover?
No, I think we're good. I think we're good.
Okay. So, let's pull this little graphic up. Numbers everywhere. Love it. Okay. So, obviously, I would expect everyone to pretty much recognize this immediately. We have Leeds, Burnley, and Sunderland. So they were the three teams that went up last season from the Championship. And this is just a little bit of a representation of what they did in the summer upon promotion. So starting with Leeds, they brought in 10 new players, spent 113.4 million. That's euros, guys. So do a little bit of converting there if you want. They sold only 8 million worth of players by getting rid of 2 players for some transfer fee. And out of the 10 they brought in, 7 of them had transfer fees attached. 2 of them were free agents. 1 wasn't marked as anything, so they're not sure, probably a fee of some kind. And they had no loans come in the summer. Then Burnley, we have 14 players came in the summer, 113.2 million, almost the same as Leeds. They sold more players. They had 31.2 million for the single player they got rid of. They had value there. 8 of their players had transfer fees. 1 was a free transfer. 4 were listed as unknown. And then 1 was a loan. So a solid number there from Burnley to bring in the summer and restart for their Prem. And then Sunderland as well did something similar. 15 players came in, but this time 187.4 million spent on those players. They did manage to sell 50 million worth, which would have helped them achieve that, obviously. And then 11 of them with transfer fee, 2 of them free transfers, and 2 loans they brought in that summer. So first up, what do you think about what's needed or what they did in the summer?
Just quickly, Paddy. Yeah. Because I am John Merrell today, I've got to go. I've got to work on the house that I just bought. Also, this is talk about the Premier League, and we can't make it, so I'm not interested because Birmingham's not going to. No, but I have to jump out for work. It's a pleasure to jump in. I'll let you guys carry on. Sorry to hijack the show a little bit, but I'll let you guys go and have a good one.
No problem, Ken.
All right. See you, buddy.
Take care, buddy.
Oh, shoot. Okay. No, I think the first thing that jumped out at me was the amount spent by Sunderland. And how much more they spent than everybody else. And then I saw the player sales number. And then when you look into that, a big chunk of that, I think around 30 million of that was Joe Bellingham. So he went to where'd he go in the Bundesliga? One of the teams in the Bundesliga. Now I'm forgetting which one it was. But so one of the bigger teams in Europe bought him, and he's done a little bit. He hasn't played a ton.
Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, Dortmund. That's right. So they spent a good chunk of money on him, but I think that allowed Sunderland to spend a little bit more. You know what I mean? Compared to the other two. And if you look at the league table currently, they look safe. At the moment, I think they're safe. I don't think they're getting relegated out of the Premier League. They went on a really good run earlier in the season. I think what they're run into towards the end of the season is depth. They were able to build a really strong first team, for that first unit. And then once they started having issues with injuries and stuff, I think their form's dropped off quite a bit. So, I mean, it just shows how much you got to spend in the Premier League to be even just to try to stay up. But it was interesting looking at their team. They did a nice mix of young players, but also veterans.
Yeah.
They brought in, honestly, for me, I think that one of their best players is, hold on, I'm going to pull up some terrible with names. And, they've been, their best player's been, here we go. Granit Xhaka, or Zaha, whatever. And he's 33. Now, problem is he's been out with an injury. He missed a month or so, or maybe a little longer, with an injury. I think he's just getting back. I don't know if he's played in this last game or his last couple games, but I think he's just getting back to fitness. But he was out for a while, and as soon as he went out, that's when their form just kind of nosedived. But he ran their midfield. He was so good. He was such a good player, and to get him was such a coup to me because he was he's such a good player. He played on that the team he was at. Oh gosh, me and names again. Bundesliga team a couple years ago. They went undefeated. They didn't lose the whole season. Leverkusen, yeah, a couple seasons ago. He was on that. He was a big part of that Leverkusen side that didn't lose a game all season. So that he's a fantastic player, and for Sunderland to be able to get him in, I thought was a real coup. And he really ran that midfield and really did a great job. So it was cool to see that they were willing to not just buy young players. You know what I mean? Because let's be honest. Now, I think they got him on a free transfer, which was good.
No, I thought it was 15 million.
Well, did they buy him? I thought for some reason I was thinking he came in on a free. Okay, I could be wrong.
I'll double check now.
For some reason I was thinking he was on a free, but either way, it didn't spend a ton of money on him. But there's not going to be any resale really. You're not going to
there won't be
get much out of it.
No, about 15 million roughly.
Okay, all right. But yeah, it's just what a great signing that is, though. You know what I mean? When we think about 15 million, when you're talking about 187, that's not a ton, and he's probably been their best player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is something that will worry me if we go up or when we go up. And I think most teams that do go up in their first seasons, they do have to worry about depth. And if you get injuries at the wrong time to the wrong players, you're going to be in trouble. It's going to lead you to heavily reduce points during that period because you're just not going to be capable of doing it. So A, the amount of injuries you ultimately get across the season, but then B, which can make it worse or easier, is when do they happen in relation to other players and the positions that they play? As to how badly it hurts you, and this is a problem for most teams going up. Is you have to hope that you get the right players, they stay fit and healthy.
Yeah. David, not to be here. Let me pull this comment up. Yeah, I didn't mean those players weren't. The other players weren't good. I just think he's been their best one. They brought in a lot of really good players. I mean, they did good business. Don't get me wrong. It was just that they've spread it out a little. They didn't just go the route of bring in 18, 19, 20-year-olds that have a lot of potential and also a lot of sell on, and then we go straight back down. They actually brought in some experienced players that could keep them in the league. You know what I mean? They spent money on players that were experienced and could keep them in the league, and that's what they went for. And I thought that was I just liked that because a lot of teams will go up. I mean, we've talked about this, Patty. They just spend money on young players because they're thinking, okay, well, what happens when we go back down? We need to sell some of these guys, and you want to get a return on them. And if you get a young player, you get a lot more return. And so it was just, I thought it was a little bit of a breath of fresh air to see him signing some experienced players like that, and that it's worked. You know what I mean? It's worked so well for him.
Yeah.
I think that was my main point.
Yeah. So something to note here before we kind of dig into how they're actually doing this season, I know we've mentioned they're doing okay, is if you go back through their history, Sunderland is very different from the other two teams that we're going to be talking about.
Mhm.
So if you go back 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 years, 10 years ago, they dropped out of the Prem, down to the Championship, down to League One for 4 seasons, then went back up to the Championship. They have spent 3 seasons in the Championship before now getting promoted last season.
Mhm.
So they had nowhere near players kind of good enough potentially for the Prem level. And they would probably be one of the better analogues for us in that respect if we were to make it up there. Now, their team was made up more of younger players, which
Yeah.
has some value with speed and pace and stuff like that, whereas we'd be different because we're a little bit more about experience. But they're coming from a place where they were building a strong championship squad. They didn't have many players that were top end or high end Prem players.
Okay.
So yeah, they brought in 15. So I was very surprised when Burnley also had 14. But before we hit up them, is there anything else in particular you want to mention about Sunderland
No, I'm
before
good.
we move on?
No, we can move on.
Okay, so then we have Burnley, and I hadn't paid much attention to what they had done. But they built up, they brought in 14 players over the summer, but didn't spend nearly as much money. So they had 113 million spent, but they also had 31 million of player sales as well. So a net spend of about 80 million. That does not sound initially, just based on those figures, that is a squad that you would expect to be capable of staying up in the Prem. And just to talk about their history, where they're coming from, this is actually quite interesting. So they have, let me just pull it up so I get it exact. Right. They have been bouncing up and down from the Prem. They were in the Prem 17, 18 for about 5 years, 6 years at that point. Then they got relegated down, won the championship, went back up, relegated down, came second last season, and are now back up, and they're about to come down again. So they did the historical double bounce that you would like to have if you're going to go for it. I've mentioned this a few times. That's kind of the perfect way to build your squad, build your funds in order to do it, assuming your ultimate goal is to stay in the Prem and not just keep the money. So they have now done the double bounce and still can't stay up there. And just looking at those figures, I wouldn't have expected them to, ignoring everything else.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they, it's considering the amount of, of course it was just one player, and I don't remember who it was that they sold, but they sold one player for 31 million, and then only spending 113 million. When you look at Leeds, who only sold 8 million worth of players, but then spent 113. The net spend, Leeds definitely went for more, definitely pushed a little more out, whereas Burnley didn't. And right now they're sitting 9 points off they're 9 points from safety. So, they're all but down,
It was James Trafford for 31.2 million was their main one. And just noticing there as well with their spend coming in, they have quite a few small players. A lot of people with small transfers. Then they have Armando Broja for 23 million, Leslie Ugochukwu, 28.8 million, Tashuna for 15 million, Humphreys 14, Hartman 12, Marcus Edwards 10. We're not that far off spending 10 million on a player in the championship.
Yeah.
and there's a lot of other players less as well. So I pulled out all the big numbers there. So yeah, they paid some interesting fees there. They really tried to do it on the cheap.
Yeah, it's odd. It's interesting. I mean, obviously, we don't know their internals and what they had to do, and I mean, obviously, they've got to do the best they can to stay in business. So, maybe that's just the best they could do. I mean, we don't know what it looks like as far as. I mean, obviously, we know the big TV payment, that everybody gets, but beyond that, I don't know what their revenues are. I don't know. How much they're bringing in on a match day. I don't know how much, what kind of money they're getting for their kit sponsors and all that type of stuff, so it may just be they don't have a ton of that extra money. Whereas a club like Sunderland, I would expect they probably actually have really good numbers as far as, that other type of stuff, because it is, I mean, let's be honest, Sunderland's a massive club. And so is Leeds. So I mean, I think both those two probably, their money, their that type of money, bringing in their revenues are probably a little better than what Burnley's doing. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those. I guess we've talked about this before. It's like, are you good with coming back down, or do you try to give it a go? Do you go for it? You're there, you might as well try it. I mean, and then what does the rules, how does that, how does that affect your financial decisions, the financial rules, and how much can you spend? How much should you spend? Uh, what's the plan if you stay up? What's the plan if you go down? What's the, so you're going to have all these different things. And obviously, I think they felt like that's the best they could do, and that's what they did.
Yeah. Okay, let's hit Leeds, and then we'll move on. We'll actually have a look at the table, see where everyone is, and get into the discussion of what we might do, if we can do it or not. So Leeds, 10 players only after looking at 14 and 15 players. 113 million though, same price pretty much as Burnley. And they only had player sales of 8 million, divided between two.
Yeah.
As far as we know, there was one unknown, but that wasn't of high value likelihood. So 7 with transfer fees, 2 free transfers. Didn't do a huge amount in the summer. So where did they come from? Historically, what they have done is they were in the Prem for 3 seasons, 21, 22, and 23. Then they got relegated down to the Championship with obviously their parachute payments. And on their second year of parachute payments, was able to come back up in having won the league last year. First try, they came third and missed out in the playoffs, and are now up. So this is their first year up after only coming down a couple of seasons ago with parachute payments. So you've got to look at their squad and say they were doing okay. They kept players. They held their squad together. And were building over that period, and managed to get back up before their parachute payments heavily dropped down to a place where maybe they would have had to start getting rid of extra players. We'll see how they're doing after that. So, that's pretty good. The fact that they managed to do that, and maybe they're going to stay up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they've spent, what's that, 107 million in net spend, compared to Burnley only spending 80, and they did that. They spent more on less players, so it says to me they've brought in better. They brought in better quality. They're looking at a higher quality player to what Burnley was after. So you'd expect that they're giving it a go. Which this is, I think, if I remember right, they were what they came down. And then they were in the champ for 2 seasons and then bounced back up. So they were on their second year in the championship when they bounced back up. So yeah, they were they're due to get up. I mean, and that season they didn't go up was wild. If anybody paid attention to the championship that season, it was pretty crazy that they didn't manage to get out. But yeah, that's it's Leeds, like I said, the net spend 107 million. On 10 players, that's over 10 million average per player. And then I think if you did it, what's 80 over 14? What's that average? That's 7 or so a piece, something like that. I'm just guessing off the top of my head. I don't know. So that's Burnley, just the quality of player just not quite as good as what Leeds were looking for. And to be fair, I think Leeds probably had a better squad going into the Premier League, so they didn't need as many players probably, and so they just focused on getting better players. Whereas I think Sunderland were like, we need everything. We need everything and everybody, and so we're bringing in 15, and we're spending 137 million in net spend. So, but
okay. So something to mention here with Leeds is that they actually kept their manager. So 2 seasons in the championship with Farke. And he obviously did quite well, 2 points average the first season that got him third, 2.2 for last season when they got promoted. And now at the moment they're on 1.1 points with Farke. But they stayed with him. So they didn't go with the trend of changing managers, chopping about here and there. Now, it helps when you're doing well. So 2 good seasons in the championship, and that kind of keeps your head safe, which not many teams can do. But they stuck with him as well, which is nice to see.
Interestingly, I have not checked Burnley. Sunderland also stuck with their manager, and doing well. Burnley, did they stick with Parker? I think they had Scott Parker. I assume, he's still their manager. So,
yes.
So Parker took them up, and it looks like they're gonna leave him in, and they're going down, and they're happy with it. So, you assume they're gonna keep him? Maybe bounce back. They had a really good season under him last season in the championship. So, but I think if you read into what Habs says, I have a feeling Habs doesn't like his style of play. Just looking at the comments, what's that? Here we go. Ineffective football. So I guess how
it's ineffective if the other teams can beat your ass. Yeah.
Which and to be fair, you know what? They had the best defense in the championship. I think they had the best defense in championship history last season as far as goals allowed. So, maybe it wasn't easy on the eye, but it was a good defensive squad, and you would think that would translate into the Prem. Well, you'd think going in, good defensive team, get in there, and you got to hold out and get. But obviously,
but you've swapped most of your team. You go into the Prem, you've got a majority new team, and then it's a little bit different defending at the bottom end of a league than it is defending at the top end. So this is my problem, and lots of people have commented on it, is that managers don't seem to adjust their style for being at the bottom of the league versus being at the top of the league. Because if you're good at the old school tippy tappa, and you can play around all the other teams and score a bag load of points doing it better than everybody else in the championship, it doesn't necessarily translate then that when you come up a level, that you're going to be able to do that around much better competition. You're now the small fish, so you gotta kind of play a bit smarter. And sometimes these managers come up trying to make a name for themselves, and it's all about style and not enough about points.
Well, to be fair it's not that they're holding on to a ton of the ball. So I'm just looking at their average possession for the season. They're dead last, 41%.
They can't.
So they've got none of the ball.
Part of the problem. Yeah, that's part of the problem.
They've got none of the ball, I think last season they had. Well, what I was getting at is I don't think it's fair to say didn't change his style, because I think last season they had a little bit of more of the ball, even though they were the best defensive team in championship history. They had more possession. It was better. You know what I mean? It was better. Like, I don't know. I guess I don't know if I can look back at their stats from last season. Actually, I can. Let me do that. Oh wait, no, hold on. Well, crap. No, I screwed it up. Sorry. Screwed up. Here we go. Let me see if I can get their stats to come up from last year. Let's see. Here we go. So let's go. Burnley. Yeah. Oh wait. Here we go. Okay. All right. So yeah, they scored 100 points last year. So their average goals conceded per match 0.30 per match is what they conceded in the championship. Average possession was fourth in the league at 56.9%. So I think when you look at that, I mean, they had 30 clean sheets. I mean, that's what did it. So I think they were fantastic last. I mean, they scored 100 points. They were fantastic last season. I think I don't know. I mean, I obviously I've not watched them play this year, so something hasn't gone right. I wonder. I don't know that you laid on the manager though. I think he's definitely changed, because now they've got 40% possession as an average, which says they're not. It's not like he's one of those guys that are out there trying to just keep the ball and they're just not good enough to do it. Sounds to me like they're getting 10 men behind the ball and they're letting everybody else have the ball as much as they want, and they're trying to defend. They just don't have the players.
Yeah,
I something to just and we just looked at the numbers, looking at the numbers, and the amount of players that they brought in compared to the money they spent. I just don't think they brought in enough quality, and that's where they're struggling. I think he probably tried to adapt to the best he could. Yeah. They just don't have the players to do it.
Okay, so time to bring up the table and put it into context where everybody is. So this is the bottom of the Prem table at the moment. Wolves are right down the bottom, so they are definitely coming down. Yep. Burnley is pretty much screwed as well with 20 points. They would have to go on a massive run to do anything about that. And then it gets interesting. You got West Ham United 29 points, Nottingham Forest 29 points, and Spurs 30 points.
I'll be honest. I would give my left arm to see Tottenham get relegated. God, that'd be so funny. That would be so much fun just to see them go down. I do wonder. I can't remember who did it. There's been a few podcasts about what it would do to them if they did get relegated, and I haven't watched them, so I need to watch some of those. Really interesting though. I wonder what that would do to a team that big. I mean, because you got to imagine that can you afford to pay the players you have? I can't imagine you do. You can't. I mean, they've spent a shitload of money on that squad too. That's what's crazy. The money they've spent on that squad to be performing this badly is unbelievable.
I'm pretty sure they can happily survive one season because they have assets to sell. They have enough players that they can get rid of a couple and then pay the wages, for a season. But if by any chance they end up in the playoffs next year and then don't go through the playoffs, that's when it will really hurt.
Could get real bad.
That's when it could get really bad. But they will have enough assets to be able to do it. But then suddenly a lot of your assets are gone. Then at that point, okay, you come back up. You have to slowly rebuild. And if you're in a situation where you can get yourself relegated with that sort of resources, there's no guarantee you'll make it stay and stick when you come back up at that point if you spend 2 full seasons down. So that's the dodgy one there. But Leeds are above them, you can see just there. So Leeds are looking somewhat safe. Not completely out of it. If they go on a bad run, they could slide far enough. But they seem to be pulling enough points to make it to the end of the season. So it's likely Leeds will survive this year. Then you have Crystal Palace, who are basically near enough mathematically safe.
Yeah.
Right. But with the gap that's there, then the jump from Leeds up to Crystal Palace, they're not going to be in relegation scrap unless something drastic happens. And then Sunderland is just 1 point above them and basically safe as well.
Yeah.
They should be able to slide into the end of the season. Yeah. So for once, not only are we getting one team up, we may very well get 2.
Yeah, that'd be great. I hope we do. I really do. I hope we do. But here's an interesting thought, and this is a little off topic. But the Prem they've just this season, or I think it comes into effect next season, they have voted in a new financial rules.
Yeah.
Okay. That comes into effect next season. Are we starting to see that actually the other rules were starting to work? Because you've got teams like Tottenham Hotspur in 16th, a point from relegation, and teams like Sunderland on 40 points. Good, who've just been promoted. Is there an argument to be made that? And think about it. Some of the other teams that have struggled, Chelsea have struggled recently. Obviously, doing better now. Man United had been struggling, doing better now, but they were like, they were running for a while there earlier this season, and then last season, 13th, 14th, they weren't running away with things. I just wonder. I just wonder if there's an argument to be made that maybe it was just about to start working to where you actually were going to have more of a mix, and now we're going to go away from it. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I was thinking about that the other day. It was a thought I had the other day.
There's some merit to it, and what I think we have seen that you just mentioned there is it can push teams potentially into a bit of a slide, 5-6 positions down from their normal, and that's happened because they've had to pull back on the spending because it got too tight. They had to let it loosen back up for a season or two. They slid down a couple of spaces, and then they can restart the whole process again and start spending more money again and pull themselves back up. So yeah, if you look at the likes of Crystal Palace, Forest, West Ham, they potentially were under some more issues there and have slid down this far. So yes, potentially, if some players cannot turn it around and have been slowly sliding down, some teams, this could be the end of it, that they're getting close enough to the relegation zone that somebody can have a shot at them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. This is interesting from perhaps teams like Brighton and Bournemouth voted against SCR because PSR benefited them because they were making a lot of money selling to the big clubs and making a profit. I think there was a lot of teams had figured out that it kind of they were figured, and look where they're at in the table. I mean, you don't see any of those teams down in that bottom section there. They're starting to figure it out. I think teams like that were starting. I think there's merit to the fact that I think PSR was kind of starting to work. Teams were figuring it out, and it was causing some of the bigger teams issues. Because you think of a team like Newcastle. Newcastle's got owners who have as much money as they want, but because of the PSR rules, they couldn't spend. They could only spend so much because it was basically capping them. And now a lot of people were kind of crying foul because, well, shouldn't they be able to? It's not fair that they can't spend as much as Liverpool or Man United because of the way PSR worked. But I think we were starting to see that. I think it was going to get to an equilibrium where it was going to make a little more sense, and I think it was going to start working. I could be, like I said, I could be wrong. I was thinking about this the other day. I know this is a little off topic, but it's just interesting seeing a team like Spurs who honestly are in a relegation fight. And I mean, look at their form. I mean, they've got the worst form of any of the team on that table. I mean, if you're going to pick one like of those teams, looking at their form, who you think's going to go down? I mean, they've got the worst form. So I mean, there's a real shot, and I'll tell you what, a massive game this weekend. It's Nottingham Forest versus Tottenham. So that's a massive game. West Ham could potentially jump out, and the other teams drop down in. I think who's West Ham got? They've got Villa. So I mean, exactly.
Okay.
Abs just said that. Newcastle is basically the richest club in the Premier League, but they've been shackled from spending it. Yeah, exactly. Which I think some of the smaller teams would probably say, "Good," keep them from blowing us away. But then the argument is, well, the other teams like Chelsea, when they had a rich owner, were able to spend, and so is it fair that they kind of got themselves to a point by being able to spend all that money that they did under Abramovich when he was there, and spend all the money they were able to spend, and then a team like Newcastle can't. So I don't know. It's a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, there's a lot of big clubs that are having, like I think Aston Villa are having serious issues with PSR also. So they're probably loving the fact that it's going to change because it probably does them a favor. They're right up against it. So
PSR is going to hurt some teams in different ways. This is the problem. And now, in general, the squad cost ratio.
Squad cost,
I said the wrong one. So that's the new one. This is going to hurt different teams in different ways. And as far as I can see from it and my reading and understanding of it, I think it suits us. I think it suits us quite a bit.
We maybe this is something. Maybe we should do some homework on SCR, and maybe since we've got the international break coming, maybe next week or something, or the weekend, the following, maybe we dive into that a little bit and talk about it. Where we can talk about it a little more. Because that is interesting. I know we talked about it a little bit when they first voted on it, but I've not done a deep dive on it. I wouldn't mind kind of digging in on it.
In most simplest terms, the more money you're able to generate, the higher your squad cost ratio is going to be. How much you're going to be able to spend. So the likes of us who are generating significant revenues, that's really going to help us in the Prem. And as we can drive it. Now, we know we're waiting for the accounts to come out to see what we did for League One. And we've already said that some of the money that we have coming in from commercial, that is actually higher than some of the bottom end Prem teams already.
I actually saw one. I can't remember where I saw it. I saw somebody apparently who I think, I don't know if there was an article or if they're talking about it on TalkSport. There was somebody who would have had some better, would have had a little bit of info. One of the people that usually speak on this type of thing had basically said that we are almost to a point now where it'll be the big six and then us. We're going to be right there, right behind them as far as the money we'll be able to generate. It's even more than, whereas originally, we'd heard that, there were some lower, a handful of lower teams that were lower than us. I think the numbers that we're seeing now, I think we're getting to a point where, I think we're going to be in really, we'll be close. We'll be able to spend. We'll be in good shape. Let's put it that way.
We'll be in really good shape. Yeah. And if we do get up there soon and continue kind of this massive up push with our commercial as well, we can grow our numbers quite quickly, and that'll be very, very helpful for us. So they're assuming we can get through a first year and survive. I think that's always the biggest risk coming up. Then hopefully our revenues can help push us up the table. But it does also help the biggest clubs. The biggest clubs with the most revenue come in, they're going to have huge windows for how much they can spend. And yes, like the top 6 are probably going to become really, really strong again.
Yeah.
But there are some teams that have been running on debts and ownerships and stuff like this that are not generating income from player sales. They're going to be in big trouble, because they're going to stagnate, and over time they're going to find out that they're in problem, and some teams will start sliding. Is my guess with this.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what that does, and I'm still interested to see what. Because I think the championship being, under PSR rules, I'm curious if that gets changed. And I've not really heard a lot of talk about it, but the fact that the Prem has switched to SCR, I can't imagine that they stick with PSR much longer.
No, I think it'll have to change, but I don't think they could do anything until they waited to see what the Prem did,
to see what
whether it came in or not. Yeah, I'd expect maybe 3 years. They'll probably make that change to themselves as well.
Because here's the thing: think about this. When you're a team, say you're a Nottingham Forest or whoever. Let's say they stay up this season, but then next season they're getting ready to go down. Well, that year they'll be working under the SCR rules. But then if they get relegated, then you'll be dealing with.
It's going to be messy.
Back to PSR, and how is that going to affect? Because the PSR goes back to your previous 3 years, and if you go back, if you're going back to a year when you're working under different rules, how does that? I mean, clubs they're going to have to change it, because clubs will have to be basically working under 2 different models. You know what I mean? To try to. Just in case.
If you're worried about relegation,
exactly.
You're going to have to start looking at that model as well. And,
exactly. Yeah, it could make a big difference. So, it's really interesting.
Yeah. So Habs mentions it here. Our model is vastly different, and it is. But we are generating a lot of revenue. Something potentially for the long term, though, that is a little bit of a worry is the whole academy side of it. You would like to be able to sell players and generate income there also. Now we've a long way to go on that. We're only a category 3 academy at the moment. Most, if not all, of the teams that have been in the Prem for a while, they're all running Cat 1 academies. And even with an academy, like you're talking 5-6 years at a minimum to start bringing out any sort of talent, without obviously a single outlier that magics out of your academy, which can always happen. At some point you can just grab one that works and make a lot of money. But that side of it, you're talking 10 years from now before you have any sort of realistic academy that is regularly turning out players of this level. So that's something that's going to be quite hard to do. And I'll be really interested to see how they go about it once they start pushing money into it, once they go for a Cat 1. But they'll need probably to be sitting in the Prem for 2 seasons, 3 seasons to throw out 50-60 million to be building a massive training centre and doing all that side of it. So that's going to be a long time off. But the commercial and everything else is going to be massively in our favor, at least. So that's something.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. That's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts on some of that, because we don't even know if we'll get promoted anytime soon. We could still be in the championship in 4 years. So who knows? You'd like to think we get up, but you never know. Shit happens, man. You just never know.
So Spurs, obviously, just for the hell of it, but you really don't want them in your league next year if we stay in the championship.
I mean, honestly, you probably don't want Wolves or West Ham in there either. Really you don't really want any of the teams that have been in the Prim for that long in there. You probably would prefer it being Leeds dropping down, and you get maybe it's just Wolves,
Leeds
Burnley,
coming
and
back,
Leeds.
yeah.
Which not that. And
Yeah.
here's the thing: to be honest, Leeds always dominate in the Championship just because they are such a big club. So they make a ton of money anyway. So you're still going to struggle. It's going to be a struggle no matter what. But I just wonder if I don't know. I feel like if Spurs came down, you can't imagine any of their contracts are going to have. They're not going to have like relegation release clauses and stuff like. I don't think like you're not going to have a lot of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think they're just. And they've got some players that are probably making $300,000 a week. Plus some of them maybe. I don't know for sure, but they've got players that are making over 200. I'd almost guarantee it. The fact being the size of club they are, they've got players on that, and you can't. I'm sorry, there's no way you can afford to keep a player like that. So they're going to have to sell players, and when you go and sell a shitload of players, now granted they'll have money to bring players in, but then you got to get those players playing together, and you've got a lot of turnover, and then it's going to be, how negative is that club going to be if they it just becomes a big negative sinkhole.
There has been talk that Spurs do actually have 50% wage reductions in their contracts.
I can't imagine. No way.
Now, see, it maybe, look, we don't know exactly what's in their contracts, obviously, but it does in some respects make sense, because if you're playing for a team that big, that financially solid, why wouldn't you sign that clause? Because you don't think they're anywhere near relegation.
Yeah, any chance you're going to actually go down.
There's no chance we're going down. So of course I'll sign it. But yeah, so a lot of these players, even if they're going to get relegated, they could be simply thinking, well, I'm too expensive. You're going to let me go. I'm going to go to another team. I'm too good to be in the Championship. And is that true for too many players? What happens then to the 2 or 3 players that get told, no, you're staying? Don't care, I need you. They're not going to want to be there. They're not going to want to.
That exactly.
All of this stuff can be a mess.
And how many of those players just say, no, I'm just not going to, you're going to sell me, or
you're going to sell me,
be hurt.
That's it,
Or I feel my calf, I've got a calf injury, and I'll have this calf injury all season, so you might as well sell me. You know what I mean? It's going to be one of those. I don't see. There's going to be players that are like, I'm absolutely not playing in the Championship, no chance. So that'll be wild. Just imagine. How big is that stadium? A massive stadium. You imagine that stadium in the Championship would be crazy.
Well, that's from someone a team that can probably afford to take the hit for a year, whether they want to or not, and all the problems that come with it. Then you have West Ham, who all the talk has been that they are in real trouble if they come down, that they don't have a lot of money available. They're going to have to cut their squad to pieces in order to be financially viable in the Championship next season. And I'm listening to it quite a lot, and they are so worried about it. All the podcasters and everybody talking about it, saying that West Ham is in so much trouble. I'm less worried about them coming down next year now.
Yeah,
I really think they're going to have trouble putting together a team that is capable of playing together at a top 2 level. Anybody can make the playoffs kind of and be good enough to get in there, but then you have the hit and miss of the playoffs that it's just difficult to get through so many good teams. So next season, if we're still in the Championship, I would hope that our target is top 2. So just from a personal point of view, if we want to have a shot at top 2, I would like it to be as it is now, West Ham, Burnley and Wolves. And then we see how it all shakes out. 3 of those 2 may still get the top 2. next season if that happens. But I would say West Ham are probably the favourites for maybe not being able to put themselves together to make that top 2 charge, but we'll see.
Yeah,
could
be
be a
interesting.
you've won next year, might be easier. Who knows?
Be interesting to see what Forest did too.
Yeah,
How they would squad wise. I mean, because even we played against their second team, or basically, and I can imagine many of those players would want to play the championship. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting. I don't know what their financials are like. I have no idea about Forest. So, really interesting stuff.
Well, they're all due out soon, so it'll be really interesting. We can have a look at it over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
and
sure.
see where they're standing in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So what else we got? What else were we going to touch on tonight?
I don't know. Do we have something more?
Is that it? That might be it. I don't know.
Do you know what would be kind of funny if Spurs came down and we went up?
I mean, I'm all right with that. That would be.
I want to go to their stadium. I will say that, but I would prefer to be laughing at Spurs in the championship while we're in the Prem than visit their stadium now. So
just imagine their big giant stadiums in the championship, and we're in the Prem with our 3-sided ground with a cop under construction.
Do you know what? If that happened, I might, just for the fun of it, go and visit Spurs playing a match in the championship. Yeah. If I was over to watch Wrexham playing Chelsea or something, I might just take a quick visit.
You know what? I'd tell you the one good thing about having Spurs in the championship would be I can't imagine we'd have problems getting away tickets. I'm sure there'd be plenty. Oh my goodness. Oh my Lord. Jeez.
David saying Nottingham Forest are in free fall. If they get relegated, chances are good they don't get promoted back. This is why the head says you don't want Spurs coming down. Because Forest and West Ham will probably have a harder time reorganizing and then getting a squad together good enough to dominate and take one of those top 2 early.
Yeah.
And not give you a fighting chance, let's say, But everyone's looking at that Spurs. That'll just be such a massive thing if it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty wild, actually. I mean, just think about, and even it's interesting because even in the championship, like some of the size of the clubs that could get relegated, this out of the championship this season, West Brom and Leicester, serious, those are big teams, big clubs. Be real interesting seeing some of the bigger clubs getting relegated in both divisions. Let's see. What's a quadruple promotion along with our ownership? A lot of people will want to commercially affiliated. Oh yeah, we'd be massive. We'd be massive. I mean, if we went up, it'd be the biggest story in football, and much to the chagrin of a lot of people out there. But I think I think we'd be. Well, I can't. I wish I could remember where I heard that but it was from somebody serious. It wasn't just like a random podcast and they were just throwing numbers out. It was somebody serious, and they had said that basically like once we get the type of number we're talking about, we'll be just outside. Like you'll have the big 6, and then there'll be a drop. And it'll be teams like us and Sunderland, and what I mean. Those teams will be in that group. We'll be bypassing a lot of those teams that are as far as commercial revenues, I think it was mainly not overall, but as far as commercial revenues, we will sit in that group, which just means we'll have more headroom to spend money. Again, I don't know how it with SCR. I don't know how that affects things, what you can spend, but assuming it's similar, I mean, the more money that you're bringing in, the more money you can spend. So it's always a good thing, good problem.
As far as I'm reading it, we will be better off in the first couple of seasons under the new rules than we would have been, because with the old rules, the 3-year look back would hurt us, because we actually have to use financials from League One and Championship, which artificially reduces us in an unfair way. Whereas now it's just purely based on the revenue you can make currently.
Right. Which the good news is, if you look back, our financials going back, it wasn't like we were losing a ton of money. We were losing money, but we weren't losing. Like, what was it last year? We lost $2 million or something. I think was the total loss, which is a drop in a bucket for a lot of the prim teams. It's nothing. So I think we'd be in even with that, we're going to be looking fine. We'll be just fine. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what that looks like, how that changes, with SCR. Do they look at it from an SCR standpoint when they're looking back at
they don't look back at all.
Oh, they won't do the rolling 3-year check?
No, it's this year. This current year, they'll know how much revenue you have. You will put in accounts for your estimates, and they'll work within the estimates. Yeah,
that's interesting. Okay, so the look back won't matter.
Won't happen anymore. Yeah.
Wow, I actually like that. Yeah, that would be helpful. Okay.
It will absolutely be helpful for a season, because if we decide to spend everything we have, we can get away with it. So if you take all the TV deal and our commercial deals and everything, we could potentially afford to spend 200 million and get away with it within the regulations. So actually, just on that point, looking at what Sunderland managed to do, they got close to 200 million. What do you think we'd do? Do you think we're going to hit rough 200 million? They've got to, surely. I mean, with the squad we have.
I know somebody, I saw it in the chat earlier and I didn't pull it up. Somebody said they didn't think we'd have much turnover. I think we'll have a lot of turnover. I think it'll be massive. I know we just brought in a bunch of players, but I'm sorry. They're on peanuts compared to what the players we'll be bringing in will be on. So it will be nothing. We'll have a lot of loan players out next season. You'll have we'll sell a lot of those players for nothing, probably for cheap. I mean, there's a handful that'll be able to play with us.
Off the top of my head, without calling out names, I would probably say 7 players out of the 25 that we'll keep, which would then put us needing 18 players, thereabouts.
Yeah,
thereabouts.
Maybe. That might be tough. I don't know if it'll be quite that brutal, but I could see us doing a 15 for sure. I could easily see us bringing in 15 players like Sunderland did. Really. I can't imagine we wouldn't have a huge turnover in the squad. You're probably right though. There's probably legitimately 7 players that you would want to keep around. I think you'll end up stuck with you might
a couple of more. Yeah.
You might have a couple that you can't really get rid of, and you also can't, you can't move them on, and you can't. They're not good enough. They wouldn't be good enough. So I think, but I don't know. It'll be interesting.
So here's what Habs. I would imagine it being 13 players.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're saying 13 players, you've got a new 11, and then you've only got 2 new Premier League quality players for depth. and then everything else is what we already have. Our depth is not going to be good enough at that level.
See, like, here's my thing. So, like, and I don't want to say his name, but I'm gonna because I think it's a perfect example. And I'm not calling him out because he's not even had a chance yet. But a player like DKD, he's not going to be anywhere near it. You know what I mean? And we just brought him in. You know what I'm saying? Like I like a player like him. He's not getting time. We just brought him in. He's not getting time in the championship. I can't. They're not going to use him in the Prem. No chance. And all this, obviously, this is all space. I mean, we're all assuming, if we got promoted, there's no guarantee we get promoted. But just thinking about it, our squad, I mean, that would be, him. At least with like Bailey Catamartri, at least he'd go out on loan. That's not a problem. You get somebody will take him on loan. That's not a problem. And I'm sure somebody would. There'd be plenty of teams that would want DKD. But it's just that it's going to be players like that are going to be, he's not going to want to go somewhere because I'm sure we're paying him a good chunk. So he's not going to want to lose money. So it's probably going to be an issue, a thing where we'll have to send him out on loan and we'll have to cover probably some of the wages.
Well, yeah, we'll have to try and loan a lot of the players into other championship teams. Probably the lower end of the championship teams, but to do a deal or whatever to keep them there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I know that's harsh, and it's probably not fair to him because he's not even got a chance this year yet. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. So I suppose leaving that fanciful we're in the Prem aside, Roman here said, if we don't go up, and I think we will, do we become the favourites in the championship next season? And Habs said it depends. Habs. Someone said it depends who comes down. We will be one of the favourites. I think a lot of people will have us reasonably high. I would certainly say we'd be one of the favourites for playoffs next season. Yeah. That would be the expectation of a lot of people. I think it would be fair. But if we end up in the championship next season, right, then we have another window of spending money.
Yep.
So we take our 40 million, which is probably closer to 50 million, maybe in the summer. And if you truly want to be Prem ready, you take that and you buy 3 players that are just on the doorstep, 3 or maybe even 4 on the doorstep of being good enough for the Prem. And that's it. You don't bring anyone else in. You use the squad you have. They've shown they're good enough. You bring in 4 top quality who, at the very least, you would be comfortable as depth in the Prem for next season. And that is a step closer to being ready for your promotion to the Prem. And then in January, you buy another one, with the January window. And then suddenly next summer, we have 5 more players that we're comfortable, at least as solid depth to be in the Prem. And that's a good chunk of extra ready.
That's going to be an interesting conversation. If we stay in the championship, how many players, how much will we do in the summer?
Yeah.
How many players will we bring in? Because I know you're saying, 4 or 5. It wouldn't surprise me to see it be more than that. It wouldn't surprise me to move a couple guys on. It might, because Parky's been, I think he'd surprise us. I bet they'd move on a couple guys that would surprise us, and guys that have contributed. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it goes in the summer. I don't think if we are in a championship, he's not going to want to. It's not going to be a big turnover. It ain't going to be 13 again or whatever the hell it was. But wouldn't surprise me if it was 7. If you brought in 7. Because here's the thing. Because honestly, I think just looking at the squad, I think if we're being honest, we've got to do something. I think we'll probably bring in a minimum 3 wingbacks. Maybe 2. Maybe you get away with 2. It's probably 3 though. Yeah, Bruce just said it. Yeah, 3 wingbacks in the summer. He's thinking exactly what I was thinking.
Are we counting the signing of Kabore though? Because I wasn't.
No, but he would. I would say that would be if we signed him permanently, that would be one of the 3.
One of the 3.
But you're gonna have to. That would have to be. More. You're gonna either have to sign a replacement for him or get him on a permanent. Which I can't. Is he?
Yes.
He's still got 1 more year under contract with right with
yes, I believe so.
City. So, I think they were looking. Yes. Yeah, that's right. And the rumor was that he's one of the ones they are looking to move
ready to go. Yeah.
So we'd have to make a decision there, and then one way or another, and then I mean but I think 3 wingbacks at the minimum. So there's 3 players. And that's not done anything. I could see us. I definitely.
That's not. You just said that's not done anything. That depends on the quality you're bringing in, because if you
no, but I'm saying, but that's no. I'm saying 3 there, but there's 3. But I think you're going to bring in a striker. I think you're going to bring in at least another number 10. I think you're going to bring in a defensive midfielder, and I think you're going to bring in a defender also.
6.
So that's 7. If you bring in 3 wingbacks. 3 wingbacks.
Okay. Plus, if you're counting Kabore, okay, 6, yeah.
And let's be honest, do you bring in another goalkeeper? Are we happy with Ward and Okonkwo? Do you stick with those 2? Do you bring in another to push them? Because I can't see Burton wanting to stay. Do you go for a young guy? And I'm not saying bring in a starting. I'm not saying necessarily a replacement. I'm just saying as backup and having a third. Who knows? But we know they're looking to Sharif kid in January. I think he's going to end up signing at Fenerbahce. Actually, I watched him play the other night. It was a couple weeks ago. He's kind of an awkward player. He runs. He runs really weird. I don't know how to explain it. He's an interesting player. He got an assist in the game I watched. It was in a where are they in? They're either in the I think they're in the Europa League. And I watched their Europa League game against who did they play? They play Forest or played? Seems like they're playing a Prem team. I can't remember, but they whoever they were playing, I can't remember if they won or not. But he was honestly, I'm kind of glad we didn't sign him. If I'm being honest, he looked awkward. He didn't like blow me away, but he did get an assist. But I think it was kind of an accident more than anything. But I don't know. But that type of signing, like we're going to bring in that type of player. We'll be looking, and there'll be others. We'll be looking at others like that. So you're going to bring in somebody like that. You're going to bring in, you're going to bring in another defender because I think all of us. I don't know what his contract status is, but I think you probably move Scar on. He's done well for us this year, but you probably move him on, unless he's just so good in the locker room that it's worth keeping him around as a sixth choice backup.
If anybody who's not getting minutes this season shouldn't be here next season.
Yeah,
that's Barney,
right?
Scar.
See, but see, that's the thing too with Barney. Like that's another one. Is it 4 wingbacks? Do we keep Longman? Does he keep Longman as a wingback?
Yeah,
as maybe like the 5th choice. Does Thomason stay as a wingback, or does he go back to central midfield?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much. I mean, would you really honestly look? I mean, we'll have Kakache, hopefully fit.
Okay, Kakache is number 2. Thomason is still playing somewhere, and he's at number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing, all right, with the dual options. So you have Thomason covering 3rd spot on the wing because we've got a new winger ahead of Kakache because Kakache can't stay fit. Then on the right-hand side, you sign Kabore, and he potentially is our number 2 as well.
Mhm.
if you bring in someone better of really potential quality
Mhm.
for the Prem.
Mhm.
And then you keep Longman because he also covers both, and he's the third.
Mm.
So they
you
have their
choose
uses.
two.
Longman can cover both. Thompson can go back in the midfield, and he's
Mhm.
also able to cover the left. And we've depth everywhere.
Yeah.
And you've got
Yeah.
two brand new wingers.
Yeah.
Backs.
It'd be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out, what we do there. But yeah, I think, you know, in the midfield, I could definitely see another one or two defensive mids coming in. I could see at least 110 coming in. That's why I'll be honest with you. I'm just gonna throw this out. The DKD signing doesn't make sense because we're not playing him now. And are you know what I mean?
Do you know what TKD completely reminds me of now? And the more I think about it, the more it just comes to mind.
Mhm.
He's potentially another Doyle signing. No, Boyle, not Doyle.
Boyle.
He's
Yeah.
another Boyle. Boyle got a fantastically long contract when he came in.
Mhm.
And I think it's because at the time we needed someone. We had to get them in. And now I don't know that DKD was quite in that range, but we needed somebody just in case, and he got a fantastically long deal.
Yeah.
As well. I wonder, is that some, with both of those, it was some agent magic, you know, kind of saying, oh, well, we don't trust you, we don't know if he's going to play, blah blah blah. You know, the only way we're signing it is if you do a long contract. And down to the wire type thing, and got the fantastic deal.
Yeah. Squad building will be interesting this summer. Either way, whether we go up or we stay in the chase, it's gonna be really.
The other way around this, and I mentioned it in January too, and it didn't happen, is we potentially have to look at bringing in some 19 and 20-year-olds for our extra squad depth. You say you want midfielders, you say you want some defenders. That's potentially what we need to do.
Yeah.
That they're young with potential talent. We might still have to spend 7, 8, 9 million each on some of these guys if they're that good, but they're developing. They still have a couple of seasons outside the 25, and they could very well be good enough as squad depth in the Prem.
What do you do if somebody comes in and offers 15 million for Doyle?
Sell him.
Sell him.
If he wants to go, sell him. If we're still in the championship, absolutely, let him go.
Yeah.
If it's a Prem team, yeah, let him go.
Yeah, Prem team.
Then yeah, move him on. Because what can you do? You can't stop someone going to the Prem, but it has to be, in my mind, enough money for two players. If you're going to sell someone and lose someone of that value, you have to be now able to replace two players in order to make our squad stronger. And maybe ultimately it's one in a different position. Like that 15 million could be enough to buy one who is almost Prem quality, that you want to keep. Then okay, so be it. Then it might not be that position, it might be a different position, but okay, you just have to take the hit. And in a way, you can kind of confirm in your mind it's a like for like.
Right.
Yeah, you lost someone you really wanted, but now you've spent 15 million on someone else who has made that position as deep as we kind of had.
Yeah, well, there's a lot. I can't. Is there anybody, like, honestly, other than him? I don't think. I mean, I know there's always the rumors of Max. I don't. I could see Doyle getting a serious offer before Max got a serious offer.
I'd let Max is decent and could potentially step up again. When we get there, especially if we spend another season in the championship. If you give him another solid season in the Championship, maybe he'll step up again enough. But I would let Max go in a heartbeat if he got an offer. Less so with Doyle, but I would, expect to be getting the decent money for Doyle. Yeah. But you can't really stop players. This is the balance we're in at the moment.
Yeah.
People don't want to be in the Championship if they get that Prem offer.
Yeah, if they get the Prem offer, yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of have to. So what you really want is someone like Doyle to be his standout season is the season you're promoted. That's what you want. Is when you have someone who is getting offers, but not top 6 offers.
Yeah.
And look, if it is a top 6 offer, then you're starting to talk 40 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't think we've got it. We don't have any. Yeah, we don't have anybody in our squad that's going to get an offer from a top 6 club.
If you get promoted at the same period, what you have to do is you just have to suck up the wages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're getting an offer. You're getting this sort of wages from other clubs. We'll have to match the wages, but stay with us. You want to be with us. Mm-hmm. We're here, and they then take the gamble that they can help us stay up. And they stay with the same team. And if not, then he wants to move. And we have to try and get him a move.
Oh, Lord. Going to be, the squad building in the summer is going to be so much fun. I can't wait. I'm excited about it. I've already got a list started. I've been cherry picking players. So it's like, yep, I'd take him. I don't know. It's interesting. It's always an interesting thing to talk about. And like I said, it's going to be fun either way, whether we stay in the Championship or we go up. It's going to be really. I'll tell you what though, and we like to have fun. We like to pick players that we think we're gonna have, and we do our little shows and we have fun with it. But if we go up again. Mm-hmm. Trying to pick, it'll be impossible. Who the hell? I don't know. That's going to be such a different. And it's not that it's easy going because we have gone up. You don't have a chance to get level. You get at a level where we've stayed, and it's like, okay, we know what type of players you'll get in this. You're learning. It's like we're trying to learn what kind of players we can even get every time we go up. When you get into the Prem, it's like you can get anybody almost. It'll be crazy. I don't know. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, if we pulled it off this season, everything would just explode. It would be the biggest story forever. For the whole season. Imagine the coverage we're going to get next season if that was to happen. Sunderland got a lot of coverage when now it was because they started playing well quickly and they took out a few teams, but they got a load of coverage early in the year.
What'll be interesting is I think for us, I think it'll be more enjoyable for me personally. I guess I don't want to speak for everybody else. For me, I get so annoyed listening to other fans, other teams complain about the coverage we get. We get into the Prem, it's like you're in there with Man City and Chelsea and Arsenal. They get so much, they get all of it. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't matter. We may get close to that level of coverage, but it ain't gonna be as much as they do, just because they do have such massive fan bases worldwide. Whereas before, it's been we do have this worldwide following that most of the teams at the levels we've been at don't have anything like that. So it'll be a different. It'll be interesting to where that's you don't hear that as much anymore if we were to get up. I don't think it'd be that big a deal. I did want to touch on one thing. Roman's been talking about in the chat, talking about players not wanting to leave and stuff. I'll disagree a little bit. I think if we got an offer for Doyle, because it's not just the amount of money we can get, it's the amount of money he'll make. If he gets a Prem move, he could be on triple what he's making now. He's not going to turn that down. He's not going to turn down it. Even it doesn't matter how excited, how big the documentary is and how much he gets out of that or whatever as far as being famous or whatever. That's not going to matter if he can move into the Prem, especially if we stay down. Now, if we go up, that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
I think he would say, well, you know what, I wouldn't mind staying, and that would make sense because we could give him a pay raise, and I'm sure they've got that in the contracts and all that anyway. All the guys will get pay raises when we get promoted, but and bonuses and all that. But I do think if you get a Prem offer and you're in the championship, you got to take it. You got to, because you don't know. Like, you could break your leg tomorrow and be done, and not ever heal right, and you never, you know what I mean? Like, I think you have to get. I think when you get that chance to take that move, I think you just have to do it.
Yeah, the only thing you could have is like a weird scenario where. We don't go up this year. Someone comes in and buys Doyle. And he's basically on like a 3-year, 4-year contract. It takes us a couple of seasons to get out. We come up to the Prem and he's on his final year of contract and we buy him back because he wants to come back. Yeah. And he comes back as one of our top best players, returning to the club that he wants to come back to. Yeah. You could potentially have some of that. That's kind of a long shot, of course, to go up, make your name for yourself in the Prem, and then have a perfect time to come back to us. But
oh, shoot. Oh, all right. Well, got anything else, Patty? We've almost made it to 2 hours.
Yep. No, I think that's good. I think that was fun conversation.
It is.
Yeah. Of course, we'd have to look at ripping up the team and who comes in, who goes out, all of that. Even whether it's championship. Well, the Prem, it's almost everyone. But even championship, like you're saying, is it going to be 3 or 4 players? Is it going to be 6 players? Is it going to be 7 players? Yeah. That's an interesting discussion. But because we're doing so well, probably not the appropriate time to
Yeah. You don't want to start dicing up the team just yet.
Yeah. They're all doing so well at the moment. But it's definitely a fun mental exercise to consider.
All right. Well, I think I'm good.
God help you on the show as you turn around and say that we need a new keeper that's better than AO.
Hey, no. I've never said that. I have not said that.
I think you almost said it tonight, didn't you?
No, I said just bring in another keeper. And I specifically said not as a replacement, but as another third choice, because I don't think Callum Burton's going to want to stay another season.
Yeah,
I don't know what's his contract though. Did he sign like a longer? I can't remember. So I don't think he's out of contract.
No, I don't think he's out of contract, but
yeah,
he ended at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see him wanting to get a move just to play, just to get to play. But we'll see. See how it goes.
Everyone in the chat enjoying the thoughts of all the delicious tears if we're in the Prem and all these established teams are getting no airtime because of us. Not counting the big 6, obviously, or the big end, but all these middle level Prem teams that have been there for 10 years getting overlooked.
Yeah. Oh shoot. All right. Yep, there you go. Roman hit it. Like and subscribe, everybody. Get in there, hit the likes, share it around, share the podcast. I'm sure we got game day tomorrow, don't we? Got a game.
Yes.
So we'll have all the good stuff. Pre-game show. Josh will be on the watch along. Patty, you doing Wrexham time?
Should be.
All right. So should be good. And then I think Josh kind of gone away from doing the 4th show, hadn't he? I can't remember. I think he talked about maybe not doing that as much, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, he was.
There might be another show at the end. Yeah, there might be another show at the end, later on, but we'll see. Especially in the midweek games, it's hard to do because I think it gets tighter. Like it gets late quicker. You know what I mean? Because Wrexham time, And by the time it's done, you're already pretty late. People are fixing to go to bed anyway. So, but
okay, got a question for our on that bombshell, and then we will get out of here. All right. Which fan base from the following 4 teams is going to be the first to comment on social media? How does Wrexham have so much money to be spending on players? Will it be Man City fans, Man United fans, Arsenal fans, or Chelsea?
it's interesting. Don't know. I don't know who's the biggest whiners. Oh, Chelsea. Everybody saying Chelsea.
Everybody said Chelsea. My answer was Arsenal. But on that bombshell of Chelsea will be the first with their fans whinging that we have too much money. How are we spending it? We'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Jump shot. Jump shot. It's Monday night, the show is here. We'll make opinions crystal clear. Jump shot. Jump shot. Let's see who makes that watch this week. Another transfer rumor strong all week. Oh, jump shot. Jump shot.